underway, broadcasting to you from our North Catholic Studios in Cranberry Township with our final episode, number 19 of the year on our podcast for North Catholic Athletics. My name is Alex Brown.
And I'm Ryan Berry.
And together we are your hosts for this podcast. And Ryan, today we are in the final weeks of the school year, final games of the seasons for many of these teams.
There's only a couple teams and people left. Volleyball is still in the playoffs, baseball is still in the playoffs, and 2 track athletes have qualified for states, one being none other than very own Alex Brown, who qualified in shot put because he got a gold in shot put, and in the 200 as he got a gold there as well, and he got a silver in the 100. Did you qualify? So you're running all 3 in states, correct? So Alex will be nice when he comes home with some hardware from Hershey.
I wish we were in Hershey.
Is that where it is?
I wish we were. We're like in Shippensburg.
Oh,
so
not Hershey.
Yeah, nowhere. It's not. I guess you get there probably a couple hours, but it's a no chocolate there.
No
chocolate there.
Got it.
Just corn, just fields.
Just fields. States usually at Hershey though, right?
For most sports, just about for every other sport, but it's in the middle of nowhere, just about.
Right.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Well, you'll have fun, hopefully.
Hopefully, and Yellow Baylog will be there too. And Yellow Baylog qualified in the long jump. And that's an incredible accomplishment because for us here at North, we obviously don't have a long jump pit here, and she ended up being second in 3A in the long jump, which is absolutely incredible and an incredible accomplishment for her. She was really close to getting first, and she's going to be really competitive this week at states. But let's talk about boys volleyball, Ryan. Boys volleyball has had a fantastic season up to this point. We did a broadcast of their game against South Fayette. Would that be what day was that last week? That had to be last Thursday. Thursday.
Yeah.
Last Thursday we did a broadcast of that game. That was a great game, Ryan.
It was a fantastic game, and that game was a 4 seed, as in the Trojans were, and a 5 seed. The Lions were. And That's usually a really, really back and forth. I predicted that one to go 5 sets. It was over in 3s. North Catholic took out the brooms and swept them in that one. And it was just a complete team effort from start to finish, just dominated offensively. South Fayette had the size advantage in the middle hitters, and they just shut them down. And they served so well that South Fayette wasn't able to set up their offense. And when they did, North Catholic was able to counter it with a quick attack. And they were just too much for the Lions to overcome. And now they got a tough test, though.
They do.
Playing Latrobe.
And they'll be playing Latrobe Tuesday the 23rd at Gateway at 7:30. And Latrobe, number 1 seed. They've been about the number 1 all year long in the coaches' rankings. And it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen in that game because North, when they have a good first set, Ryan, and they get some confidence going, and you can see it in their play. When they get some confidence going, they're tough to beat.
Yeah, and you can see the energy of the team growing, as they continue to go on a run, as they continue to win sets, and the more energy they play with, the better they play.
And the energy was fantastic in the gym on Thursday for that game. There wasn't too many people in there, but the students that were there on the bench itself had so much energy throughout that entire game. Really carried a lot of momentum.
Yeah, they did. That was definitely fun to see. It's definitely the loudest volleyball game we've been to. Usually when we're announcing those games.
Without a doubt. And how about we talk? We go to our interview that we had with your player of the game, and the person you said going into the game was going to be the guy to watch, Luke Ball. We heard North Catholic senior and captain of the North Catholic boys volleyball team, Luke Ball. Luke, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Luke, you guys have won a lot this year, but it seems like some of the wins are just so dominant that it feels like the whole team is turning on all cylinders. What do you think creates those knockout performances like you had last night against South Fayette?
I think it mainly stems from playing as a team. We've had games this year, and it really puts perspective. But we've had games where we haven't really played as a team, and we've been on different wavelengths essentially, and it's really created problems in the passing game and the hitting, and we just haven't been able to let it flow. I've seen in the first round of the playoffs against Trinity and last night, especially against South Fayette, we were able to play together in a sense, and if we missed a ball, we picked each other up in that aspect, and when we killed a ball, our energy was all the same together, and I think that really put it in perspective.
As you said, that's been a key to your game all year. some of those games when you guys get a little bit down and you start maybe sniping at each other, get a little bit down. That's when it goes south at times. But what is it? You have a big collection of personalities on your team. You have a big collection of personalities. How have you guys all been able to mesh together to form such a great group and such a successful group at that?
Yeah, I think that comes from, like, of course we have the personalities, but we all are, like, friends on the outside of the sports. Like, I feel like we all get along really well together, and although we have those personalities, we kind of at points can, like, notice the team over the person, you know? We can come together as friends, as teammates, to win the game rather than one person wanting, like, to kill the ball multiple times and just be the star.
Luke, about 3/4 in the season, a couple weeks ago, you guys got into a little bit of funk. It seemed like lost a couple straight, and after winning so much, sometimes it's hard to dig out of that. But you guys have been able to do that, and you've been getting back to domination. How was it, and what was needed, like in practices, to kind of reset and get back on the winning ways?
No, yeah, I think the whole thing. You go in that rut and after you're rolling for a while, and it's hard to pick yourself back up. You go from the team aspect of the sport and you go to individual because the team's not working. And I think it was practice, doing the same things that we did all year, but because we were losing, we tried harder and we wanted to get back in that win column because we knew that we could contest for a top spot in the playoffs. And it all comes to the games, the practices. You can practice, but you have to execute in the games. And I think it was the game last week or 2 weeks ago against Hopewell at home. It was a must-win game to win the section. And if we did win that game, we would win the section outright. And we went back to what we used to do, and we beat them 3-0. Dominated them. And we worked very fluidly together and as a team, and I think that really put us back into the swing of it.
Without a doubt. This is the third year in a row that you guys have advanced to the Whitfield semifinals. What are some common traits between those teams over the last 3 years that have enabled such sustained success?
I think it's leadership, and not just from the seniors, but from everyone. You look at 2 years ago, we had a big senior class that picked each other up and were very high on energy. But the rest of the team fed off of that energy, and we were able to have fun together as a team. Last year, we had a smaller senior class and a very young core, but the seniors that kind of led the roads for us, and by the end of the season, we were able to have that energy up again. Same as this year, we knew what it was, and we were able to go and have the same energy.
Absolutely.
And I think it also comes from experience. Being to the semifinals multiple years in a row, we know what it's like in those aspects. I mean, my sophomore year, we went to the finals and had a big run in the States. And the atmosphere is incredible. You know, the energy, the nerves, it's all there. So being able to have that experience, you could bring it and help the people that weren't in it get to swing with it and, you know, get experience for it.
Last we ended with a fun one. What's it like playing with Nate Ball?
That's a good question. I think it's a really fun experience. I think Alex in the broadcast summed it up well. He is the most angry volleyball player.
He is.
But he has a lot of fun with the anger that he has. And it's exciting to see because he gets a serve and he gets an ace, and he gets a lot of them because his serve's nasty. And he has such excitement. And then he gets a ball and it goes down. He gets really angry at himself.
He does.
But he can pick himself up really quickly. And I think the fun part about playing with Nate is figuring out how to get him back to having fun with volleyball rather than being angry, because it's just fun.
It bothers him to no end.
Exactly.
And you guys have a special connection, a special family. And your leadership this year, you just spoke about leadership earlier, you and Ryan and I both were able to witness that last night. Tenfold, the incredible leadership and effect that you have on this group, and what a season, and we can't wait to see what's next because we still have a long ways to go. The work's not done yet, right?
That's true.
And we can't wait to see it. And thank you for your time today, and best of luck this upcoming Tuesday.
Thank you.
And you just heard from Luke Ball. We thank him for the interview. It was fun when he was talking about Nate Ball, because Nate Ball truly is fun to watch in volleyball games, because his emotions are like a roller coaster, up, down the entire game. But good luck to them in their playoff game against Gateway, hopefully.
Latrobe.
Latrobe. They're playing at Gateway. So technically, right?
You are. You're close.
And we wish them the best of luck, and hopefully they get a home state game, so maybe we can get one more game to broadcast if all things work out.
Yep, and if they win that game against Latrobe on Tuesday, they'd play in the championship game on Thursday, and that'd be at Peters Township. And that will be against the winner of, I believe it's going to be Mars and Ambridge, is that game. That's other semifinal game, so there'll be an interesting matchup too, whoever makes it there. And if they were to lose that game to Latrobe on Tuesday, they would play the loser of the Mars and Ambridge game, two teams that they know well, and they've both played this year. Even though Mars was not a section opponent, they played Ambridge twice. Both went to 5 sets, 1-1 in that. And Mars swept them on a bad day for North, but hopefully if they were to see them again, I'm sure they make sure it's a good day.
Yep, and now let's move on to baseball. Team, Alex, stumbled in non-conference games throughout the season, but they won their section, so they ended up getting the 6th seed in the playoffs. Completely dominated Mercy, ruled Elizabeth Ford 11-1 off of unbelievable offensive performance. Ryan Chance there ended it off with a double that scored 3, I believe.
That's right.
Or 2 or 3. It was bases loaded, and that won it, or clinched the win. But that was a complete performance. Tommy Caroli had a single, a triple, and a walk.
Perfect batting average.
Tommy Schafale, I believe, had 2 hits as well. Joseph Farr had an RBI double. I know I'm missing some guys. I think Sean Dewey or Drew Doherty had a triple, and one of them also could have been. It looked like it could have been an all the way around or an infield home run, but it was held at third. But yeah, this complete offensive explosion, and they definitely can continue that moving forward. And they've shown it all year. When their pitching is on, they can beat anybody. But especially their batting it has been on in basically every game, and that gives them a shot to win every game. And with their aces pitching, Seamus Straub pitching in the playoff game tonight, so the result of that game will be up after this podcast is uploaded. But they have complete trust in him, even though he's not their ace. He's a pretty good pitcher with a 3.67 ERA, and Tommy Schafale will be good to go for Tuesday if they advance. So we're wishing them the best of luck. And Alex, anything you want to add?
I think that's a great decision to put Seamus in tonight. And when we asked Tommy, and we're going to hear from Tommy Schafale here in a second from our interview from Friday. So we interviewed him on Friday, and I asked him if is he going to start on Monday, and he didn't know at that point whether he was going to start. But I think it's the right decision to start Seamus tonight. Seamus has been extremely consistent all year. The guys have a lot of confidence in him when he gets up to the mound, and I think that's a great person to pitch tonight, and you have Tommy in case you need him tonight, and then you could start him again tomorrow, because it's bang, bang, bang this week with games. If they win tonight, they play the winner of Indiana and Blackhawk tomorrow at Seneca Valley again, and then they would, if they won that game, then they would play again on Thursday. And you have to have 3 days rest for these pitchers if you throw above 25 pitches in a game. So that's going to be something to look at with the pitching this week, because North has been dominant, as you said, when they have their 2 best pitchers out on the mound, in Seamus and Tommy Schafale. But what is going to happen on that Thursday, if they make it? If they make it on that Thursday, when they have to resort to someone else? And I think that's going to be really interesting to see. Some guys are going to have to definitely step up this week for the Trojans. As long as those bats are there too, it's going to be a good day. And how about the eyes of these guys too?
Oh yeah,
5 walks in that game, couple
two
RBI walks,
pitches too. So trying to stay in the way of some of those pitches, trying to jump away the last second, but also letting them hit them is definitely a strategy.
And you can see why Blake Primrose is a catcher. 2 walks in that game, 2 big walks in that game.
And it was clear that they weren't pitching to him, as they did.
No, they don't want to.
And I want him to hit the home runs. He was getting visibly frustrated as he's walking a couple of those times, because he's like, pitch to me. Come on, man.
Yeah. He's a tremendous hitter, and he's a tremendous catcher as well. As them in that battery lineup with Tommy Schafale is something to behold. And for more on that, let's hear from Tommy Schafale.
We are here with North Catholic baseball player Tommy Schafale. Tommy, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me.
Tommy, first of all, as the ace this year, you've had a fantastic season. A .706 ERA throughout the regular season. Absolutely remarkable. But you've been thrust into a much bigger role this season without some of the seniors that graduated and some of the transfers that left last year. But you've not only filled their shoes, obviously, but you've exceeded them. How great does it feel to have taken such a huge leap this junior year, and what went into that over the offseason to get to this point?
Well, yeah, it obviously does feel great because I did put in a lot of work this offseason trying to make a bigger impact because last season I didn't pitch terribly, but I would have obviously liked to pitch better, and it was just great to come out this year and see how much I've improved over the offseason. You know, I was getting in the gym, trying to get stronger, working on building my arm, just trying to do, everything I could to get stronger and get better for this upcoming season.
Tommy, not only have you been great on the mound, but you've been great at the plate as well. And that's sometimes for pitchers a little bit uncommon. How do you balance especially practicing? Like a lot of people on your team don't have to practice pitching but you have to practice pitching a lot because you're the ace. How do you balance which ones to practice and which ones you need to improve upon more?
Right, for sure. Well, a lot of it is practice outside of team practicing. A lot of work on my own because I like to focus on hitting when I have other people to throw to me at practice and stuff like that. But outside of practice, I'm doing, it doesn't always have to be, throwing a bullpen. I just do, drills where I'm just feeling myself, feeling my leg kick, feeling my stride, just getting everything comfortable with my pitching motion. And during practice also, I get with Blake and throw bullpens or just, it doesn't even have to be a bullpen, just throw. And it is hard sometimes, during the game when I'm, completely focused on getting out on the mound, but I also got to step up to the plate and do my job there.
Your team has, over the last couple of years, has not had a lot of things that were consistent within it, whether it be through coaching or the players that are on it. But the one consistency really has been you and Blake as well over the last couple of years with your chemistry that you have in the battery that's just so effective. How is the chemistry between you and Blake just so crisp throughout the years you've been working together? And how is it to play with a friend like that?
It's great to play with Blake. He's one of he might be my favorite catcher ever to pitch to because he calls the game great. He blocks the ball great arm. He holds runners on base. It's just a lot of practice together. In practice, we got used to each other. We know each other's strengths. We know each other's weaknesses, and we know how to play well together. So it's a privilege to have him as my catcher.
So you guys just had a first-round playoff win. Is your first playoff game on the mound? How did it feel being out there for the playoffs?
I was pumped. The week leading up to it.
Definitely different, you feel like?
Yes, definitely different. I could tell, I was definitely more excited for that game. I was ready for the start of the playoffs, everything like that. There were a little bit of nerves because that was my first playoff game I've ever started on the mound. But overall, I was just ready, and I was pumped that we got that first win.
Are you going to pitch Monday?
I'm not sure. Coach has not reached out to us yet about what the pitching will look like for this upcoming week, but whether it's me or Seamus, I'm confident we can get the win and move on to the semifinals.
Regardless of this game and who's pitching, against Hopewell and beyond, what does the team need to do better in order to keep on advancing in the playoffs?
We just came off a game of scoring 11 runs. We need to continue to hit and continue to put pressure on the defense and just manufacture runs any way we can. Our defense, we only gave up 1 run. We need to play solid defense, and we need to continue to play together and have selfless at-bats and just play as a team.
All right, thanks, Tommy. That's all we have for you. Good luck the rest of the playoffs.
Thank you, guys.
And we thank Tommy Schafale for coming on. It's the second time we've had him on the podcast. First time this year, but second time overall. We had him on last year as well. 2 baseball players, 2 Tommies on the podcast, Tommy Crowley and Tommy Schafale, both juniors who will be the leaders of that team next year. And basically are like the leaders of the team this year with only 3 seniors. So we wish them the best of luck in their playoff game today and any games in the future. We thank you for listening to the podcast this year. Alex is the final one, number 19
number
in the year.
19.
More productive than last year. We had 16 last year, but hoping for bigger next year in everything that we do. Hopefully we can accomplish most of our goals for next year. Those will be outlined
senior year next year.
Soon, yeah, senior year. 1 year to go, but
stay tuned for more because it's going to be a different look for us next year. We'll be doing more things. We'll be trying different things with our broadcast down to our podcast and to our outreach. We'll have different people contributing to all of our different feeds and our social medias, so making us more visible and more productive in more places, putting us more places than everywhere before.
We thank you all for listening. Remember, for the last time, we are your one-stop podcast for everything North Catholic athletics.